Spiral, 2 Jews, 2 mics, 2 hours, starting now.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Hello. That was really the worst.
I literally have not. I have not ever seen anyone have more trouble than that with anything, like anything, than putting your earphones in your ears.
And
Sisyphus was watching that, going, "Oh, poor guy."
Well, here's the thing. I really like these in-ear. I hate them.
Clearly, you're really adapted to them well. It's very clear. He still isn't getting it.
Oh, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Oh, God, do I hate myself.
I kind of hate you, too, if it's any solace. Oh, man, you're making me want to do a video show.
I think I got it now, man. Oh, yeah, it's so easy. It's so easy. All right. It's just like that. I hate it. What I hate is my panicking. Why can't I just be calmly?
I love it, frankly.
I know.
If I have to watch that, if you were to do that emotionlessly, it would be very frustrating.
If I was doing it like, this is the way it's supposed to go. Well, first of all, these are great headphones, but then they're back to the old ones where if they have a cord, they tend to get all schmidoppled.
Yeah, a lot of us can overcome that, but, I understand.
Well, you don't use a cordless. Oh, I guess you do have a cordless. You have a corded thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe it's shorter or something. I mean, look at all that. It's crazy. Look at that. It's craziness. Good morning, Josh Elvis Weinstein the third.
Good morning.
Imagine if you were the third.
Good morning, Andy David Kindler, the swindler.
Still makes it cute. Even when my dad would call me an ugly, disgusting swindler, I was beaming from the attention. Andrew David Bratnose is an ugly, disgusting, fat nose in the morning. Oh, I'm sorry. We don't have the rights. Why isn't that song public domain?
It will be.
It will be. How are you this fine? I love it when it rains. Many people don't like when it rains. I like when it rains because it reminds me of when I sold door to door, that horrible job for 2 years, and every time there would be a rumor of rain, I wouldn't go.
Yeah.
Because I had to knock on doors, right? So let's say I was going to knock on these doors like you were supposed to do it. You go 3 hours out a day. You knock on the doors.
Do you knock or do you ring the doorbell?
Oh, no, you ring the doorbell. I'm sorry. Yeah, you ring the doorbell. I don't know why. Maybe that's why I never got in. I refused to ring. I did have a dog bite me on the ass. That's one of the things that happened.
That's classic, really, isn't it?
And then what do you do? You're upset with the woman. You're upset that the dog bit you, but you're still there to sell patio enclosures.
Right.
So who wants any sympathy for you? I think that people are like, I'm sorry my dog bit you. What are you doing here?
That's when you bribe them. Basically, you extort them into buying patio fixtures.
Fixtures. You can't.
Why won't your earphones stay in? Come on. Now you're just milking the bit.
I am milking the bit because here's the thing. It's supposed to go on the backside of the ear, which is such a great system.
Yeah, clearly it is.
Hey, the nice thing is we're really making a meal out of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Making quite a meal. Yesterday, I was going to contact you this last weekend but then I thought you don't contact, ever since the rental car debacle, where I said, maybe you want to get there early. Shut the fuck up. And I didn't even know I had lapels on. Remember the time you took me by my lapels?
Sure.
And you shoved me up against the thing? These games, I was going to say yesterday, I hope you're watching this game. This is a great game. But that, of course, you know when all the games are. You're not going to be caught.
Well, when it's, down to 2 games, yeah, it's pretty easy to track them.
Right. And those 2 games, I watched from the beginning to the end, and they were both great games.
They were.
Oh.
I didn't watch that intently, but they were both on.
Yeah, because, but you have to admit it's a better sport than football because you're afraid to watch how good it is.
What's a better sport than football?
I mean, basketball. It's better sport than basketball, football.
No, I disagree.
But you're not even looking at it intently.
Well, I can. When something happens, I can focus right in.
I mean, the ball's soaring in the air. The Swifties are excited, as opposed to squeak, 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 sweat, 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 squeak, 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 sweat, sweat, sweat. Oh, he got injured and won.
This is not the kind of talk that is going to impress your new friend Gary Gulman.
Oh, if Gary's listening, I just want to say, this is basketball the sweet science, or is it boxing? Did that ever encourage you to get into boxing?
The sweet science?
Like, yes, because
I wasn't good at science or fighting, so why would it?
I did it up in my school, which had no teams. In my college that I went to, had no teams.
You boxed in school?
Yeah, a guy who was in my, what was it? Whatever the room was called, the most located room was called. There were different names for the areas of the on-campus housing. So he was in my
and
either.
One of them was Fight Club.
What's one of the? If you had to say this is one, I was in Newing College, and I was in Lieberman Hall of Newing College. So that Lieberman Hall was like a really ugly building that had apartments in it. Okay.
A dorm, we call that.
Huh. Okay, just give me the topic. Just give me the topic of what we were on.
Boxing Andy. Boxing in college.
So there was no there was no, like, I did take, and it is a great story. I took fencing.
So far.
I'm chewing my food. I took fencing, and I really enjoyed it, and I think I was a decent fencer. Fencing, and not the, I'm talking about saber fencing like a man does. Boom, boom, like Errol Morris or Errol Flynn. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, Errol Morris actually duels people on a monitor facing them.
So this one guy said, let's get an intramural. I guess you could get an intramural thing going on of any sport that you wanted. And he was asking around Lieberman Hall, and nobody wanted to do it. All Jews from Long Island, who did not want to fight.
Not since the great Benny Leonard, ladies and gentlemen.
Is that a real name?
Has been a Jewish fighter.
Is that his name?
Yes, that's a real name.
Also, Max Schmeling was Jewish. No. So, I think he was. No, he wasn't. So this guy, we went, I just loved the idea of I loved it to watch boxing on TV. So, but I didn't want to get hit. He goes, all I'm going to do is defend myself. And it was very painful.
Defending yourself or failing to defend yourself?
No.
Oh, he's
trying to hit him.
I'm just going to defend myself. I'm not going to hit back. Have at me. All right.
Yeah, and it's not like he hit back.
Right.
It's just that the pointy elbows or whatever I hit from him.
That kind of sounds like something a babysitter would do with a kid.
I gotta tell you though, I really think I had a struggle wanting to be like a man, and I think if I had just given up earlier, I wouldn't have been. That wasn't bad.
That's how it worked for me. I gave up very early, and it's given me a peaceful life.
I think because I loved Muhammad Ali so much, he was my hero, that I would fantasize, but I knew that I was never going to be like the only kind of boxing.
You did the Taekwondo thing for years, right?
Right, but I was very careful on the Taekwondo thing. I didn't do, okay, you two are going to spar. No holds barred. I never did that stuff. And some people did that stuff, or we're going to go hard this time. No, we're not going to go hard this time.
How do you go? How do you get a black belt without ever going hard?
I have a third-degree black belt.
More to the point. How do you?
Because I sparred with people, but they were we were instructed to be careful and not hit each other's face.
Certified by Bob.
Wait, that sounds like Norm Macdonald's bit about the devil. Yeah, the devil. You get this devil, this guy, he convinced me to kill a bunch of people, and then he took off his hat. He goes, I'm not the devil, I'm Bob. Oh, Bob, you got me, Bob. That was pretty good. I killed a whole bunch of people thinking you were the devil. Not bad. I'm getting in a Canadian.
Excellent. For you, that's top shelf, my friend.
Why do you have to back criticize?
You always bring so much joy to everything that you do the least bit well that you can't give you
run
the whole
away.
thing.
I also bring attention to things I don't do well.
It's true.
Run away.
Neither are an appealing quality, though, if you think about it.
I think this, it's so hard
Gloating
to find.
or whining? Is that my choice?
Well, It's only a part of me.
Speaking of
Also,
gloating or whining, I just need to announce to you and to our listeners that I have to change. I'm changing
what's
as
wrong?
of right. Just listening to myself the last few weeks, it's not this is not the patter of a confident man any longer.
Tell me why.
Just
Tell me why.
too much whining, too much. Nobody likes me, but that's fine. Fuck that. I'm done with that. It's unappealing. I'm tired of myself. So I've just become much too comfortable with the idea of disengaging.
Oh, right. I get you. Well, that makes sense, especially with me.
I think when I'm only really happy when I'm working on something like seriously, and I haven't for a while. So I've got a little bit of that going too. Right.
Yeah, so you're going to bring that to the show.
No, that would be silly. But I need some kind of project that I...
I thought you were literally saying,
no, I'm not,
I don't have something...
I'm not rededicating myself to the show, for fuck's sake.
No,
Get a grip. I'm just saying.
Well, first of all,
I don't know. I think self-confidence is probably the best way to sum it up, but... or at least what I need to do is stop rejecting the positive.
Is that what Allison said, or that's your own thing?
No, this is all me. Allison doesn't take shots at me.
Why not? She's scared of you?
I don't take shots at her.
She's scared of you? Is that what it is?
No, we've just based we've based our relationship on a non-hassle.
That's good. Foundation. That's what makes it work. That's what makes it work very well. So let me think about this, because over the weekend, I hate this, I hate it, and I hate it. Over the weekend, I was thinking about the one comment on Friday that you made, where you said, Alex said 3 weeks ago, of course you always make it like, I can't remember exactly what it is, just to generally gang up on me. I'm just kidding about that. No. But he said something about, was Andy upset? So I started thinking back, and the only thing I could think of was that we got into some argument about Israel. Who gives a fuck about that? I mean, I'm upset about Israel.
I don't think it was. I think it was more about when we got into an argument about jazz. I think it was more when it was...
Oh, with the A section and the B section.
I think that was the week that he asked about it, but whatever the case.
Why doesn't he ask if you're okay?
He asks, is everything okay? And
that's good.
I said, what, am I sounding bored or something? And he's like, no, I mean Andy. So that's how it went.
Yeah.
And I said, well, he hates me. And he's having a harder and harder time hiding it each week now.
That's your theory?
Because he's a bad actor. Have you considered getting a different pair of headphones for the show?
I have great news to announce to the
Maybe you can make those your walk-around headphones. And do a little
well, you know why I like these better? I don't like the over-the-ear when I'm talking to you.
Yeah, well, I don't like seeing it, but I like it better than this.
Are you sure? I was going to say something very, very clever. Oh, God damn it.
But Alex did also write this morning and say, good show this week. Fun show.
I was very happy with
he said.
So, anyway, I was thrilled by both games. I think I love that Kansas City. But you know what? I also love Lamar Jackson. So this is very, very, very great. And my hope for the future is that they get all of the most violent plays out of, not the violent plays, but the obvious plays where you get to destroy someone because they're prone or they're throwing a football or they're catching something, and they've done a lot to eliminate that.
Yeah.
Although I'm a little confused about what they mean by you can't go low.
Yeah, you can't.
I don't know why you can't go low.
You can't go at a quarterback's knees.
Oh, I see. But you can't tackle. But you can tackle them low, obviously.
Well, there are legal tackles and illegal tackles. I can't describe the nuances of them.
Well, you're
Mr. Football Booster. I thought you might know the rules of the game.
Well, you were Mr. Chop Block. The thing about it is that the Pro Bowl, which is coming up in a couple of weeks, is going to be flag football. I find that very encouraging. I would really like it if flag football is exploding as a sport right now.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to have a meaningless game, you might as well have a meaningless game without injuries.
That's exactly right. But I'm also thinking that the people that how popular flag football is if we could get the violence, nobody wanted what happened to Damar Hamlin to happen to anybody else. He played yet. He did a couple of plays yet.
Yeah, but people still want to watch that violence. They just don't want the injury.
I don't. You know what? I think you're right. I think you're right.
Football without violence is a picnic sport.
Yeah, but there's a difference between a clean hit, a testosterone pumping up,
right,
and nobody wants the other person to be dead. Nobody does.
But how if you're a 280-pound guy running full speed and a change in tactics is required of you at the very last instant, how easy is it for you to stop that momentum?
I think it's very difficult.
It's going to happen. I mean, yes, you're going to get a 15-yard penalty for it, but there's sometimes where you're trying to make a sack and suddenly the pass gets away and now you're fucked.
I think you're right. I think it's a difficult thing. But when you have something like Damar Hamlin, I think pointed to how dangerous. Yes, people like to see I don't like to see the violence. That's not why I watch football.
But the Damar Hamlin thing was a freak occurrence, really. I mean, it's happened a couple times, but it happened to be he got hit square in the chest in a way that got straight to his heart, you know?
Yes. But the moves they've made to make football safer have not made it less exciting at all.
Right, but it hasn't made it less essentially violent either.
Oh, I think it's taken away some things. I remember I used to watch football when I was 5 years old or 6 years old. You know, if you got to the out of bounds, that was just the start of the play. I mean, they used to clobber each other out of bounds.
Yeah,
and I'm not even joking about it.
I agree, it's cleaner for sure.
Yeah. But I watch it just as much for the great passes and runs as I watch. I don't watch it to see people get killed. But that's what I once did. And I hate to drop the name again, Gabe Kaplan Sports Nuts. I once did Dave Kaplan Sports Nuts with Deacon Jones.
Yeah.
And he got in not an argument with me, but he was mocking me for saying that I love. I said I love football, but I don't like the violence. He goes, "That's the whole." And he happened to be particularly enjoy hitting people. Yes, because he really was angry about, and I'm not joking. He was angry about racism, and it kind of like spurred him sometimes to go even harder. But so I was just trying to argue how can you like both? How can you like the beauty of the game and but not necessarily that people get dinged? It's not going to work, I guess.
Well, by only watching the beauty of the game, you're ignoring the violence that takes place. That's not even what I said. For that beauty, like for a pass to be completed, a lot of violence has to take place between the quarterback and the receiver.
Yeah, I don't think the offensive and defensive lines are the most violent thing in the world. I think rugby is way more violent than offensive and defensive lines.
Sure.
My cousin my nephew got his collarbone broken with rugby.
Oh, his collarbone! Yeah. He broke his collarbone.
Did you ever think that maybe this was the thing you should look at more?
Your nephew.
Okay, you know the thing you just said about when the show started that maybe you need to look at things. A little differently?
But that wasn't it. That wasn't the area.
Well, as always, I think the other thing is there's no way.
By the way, I'm not anti-football, but I don't think that you can find a morally clean place to enjoy it from.
It's not immoral to tackle someone. It's not immoral to tackle someone. I played tackle football when I was 10 years old.
I love it for the beauty is loving Playboy for the article.
I didn't say that. I said it as a joke. You said to
Deacon Jones.
That was the argument. It was obviously that I looked like an idiot in that argument. You know, here's the thing. I'm portraying myself as looking like an idiot.
Yeah.
And you're coming in and go, but you still have a tendency to make statements that are not true. It is not true that if people were not injured for the whole year, it would not be true that I wouldn't like football as much. It's a lot of the reason why these people get injured is because they have had no support from their owners who have treated them like shit from day one. Don't even give me that face.
Oh,
they were very poorly treated. They were very poorly treated.
When this argument started with, you have a tendency to say things that aren't true, is how this argument started. So right away, my face kicked in. So go ahead.
No, I don't think you have a tendency. I'm just saying you are saying something. You're saying that I'm saying it's a beautiful sport and I don't see the violence. I'm saying it's a beautiful sport.
That was a joke. That was
okay,
me being
that's
trying
okay
to be
then.
funny. No, I mean, my problem with football isn't the violence. First of all, it's that it's boring at sometimes.
That you find it boring, I find horrible.
The start. Well, I don't care. The start and stop of it and my ADD don't match up well.
Okay, that's good. But the fact that you watch a sport where there's squeaking sneakers and you think that's more interesting to watch, I don't get it.
Well, you don't have to. I'm not asking
I've
you to watch with me.
I
never go, hey, let's watch a game together. Hey, are you watching the game?
But you don't. You have to take. You have to take.
Don't even talk about basketball. Don't bring it up.
Why? Because you're the expert on basketball? And
No,
I can't
because you'll go, well, you
like the game that goes squeaky, 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 squeaky. That's why I hate it, because it goes squeaky, squeaky, squeaky.
I happen to enjoy basketball.
Oh, you're a great booster of the
when
sport.
you make a statement, Josh, that is so boring. It's just like you're not watching the game if you think football is boring. No one's ever said football is boring.
I didn't say. I said I was passively watching the game.
That's
what
boring.
I said. Okay,
that's boring.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Again,
that's what you're
not invited to join me.
I don't never have even had the urge to go and join you wherever you were.
Good.
I would never want to watch a game with you because I know it's going to be like.
I can't wait till Alex calls me about this show. Okay.
I don't care. I do not care. You cannot start a show and say, "Oh, I've known this the last few weeks. This is, it's not going to be me again. I'm going to, I'm really going to try." And then within 4 seconds, you love to get in there. You love it. You love, it's football. And then you portray yourself as someone who's above the fray. And the other person is giving you, I just saying I prefer basketball. I can't justify football because it may be that they can't eventually stay with it. Maybe it's going to be gone because too many people will be killed. But that would make me sad. Look, I'm not getting off the phone. I'll tell you that much right now.
I'm not trying to drive you away. I'm just trying to get on to a new topic because football's not fun.
It's not as fun as it used to be. I think the general idea of me reporting on things that happened over the weekend, sports-wise, I think I'll take that out of the act, although the tennis is great to watch. I don't know if you like the tennis, but tennis is really, really fun.
I'm going to keep my opinion about the sport to myself, I think.
Okay. That sounds good. Shit, what else can we talk about? Let's see. What else is in the news? Give me something that's in the news. I don't know. I thought I had things to talk about before the show.
Yeah.
But I don't.
Well, I went down a couple of good YouTube rabbit holes this weekend.
What'd you do?
I like to think of them as algorithmic sleigh rides. The fun one, it was fun for a couple hours, was a white guy who speaks fluent Chinese freaking out Chinese people is basically his shtick. But he does it in many languages. He's very talented. Oh,
in other words, this guy is like a fluent in many, many languages.
Yes, he's especially fluent in Mandarin, but he also speaks Cantonese and a couple of other dialects. And then he also he's very good with phonetic languages. There's a few African languages that he's learned. And then he lives in New York, and so he likes to go to, the block in New York where that nationality is represented and freak people out essentially. And basically, a lot of times it's less than now. He's got 6 million followers, so he's kind of a celebrity and people recognize him a lot. But he started off more trying to troll people with it. More acting like a dopey white guy and then breaking into Mandarin or and people fucking love it. It is like he's doing the greatest close-up magic trick of all time for people. You
mean when he switched from the dumb guy to the...
Yeah, and just hearing just the cognitive dissonance of seeing this white Jewish guy speaking really excellent Mandarin, because even if you can see an American speaking Chinese, but it is such a subtle tonal language that for them to hear it coming out of a white guy, you can see the true cognitive dissonance of it all. And that's true when he's speaking to, he went to a festival for Ghana and he went to he went and spoke the patois for Cape Verde at a fest, and people love it. The conversations never get beyond where did you learn that? How, so it's kind of, and he's very good at sort of stammering in the language.
Oh, first.
So yeah, so it's not like it's not like a total savant trick, because it's kind of all this very similar conversational thing that he's learned.
Right.
But it's still very impressive, and you can tell that he is clearly speaking. His pronunciation is clearly excellent, because you can see that in the way that people light up hearing it, you know.
Man.
So even if he has a limited vocabulary, he's really good at the pronunciation.
Oh, so you're saying he does have a limited vocabulary?
You can, yeah. I mean, you know, it's just depending on how deep into the language he's learned it. But he learns it from native speakers, and so he's just got an excellent ear. But it is very fun to see how excited people get,
and people must love it.
They do, and especially when it's like you know, it's like everyone can hear Spanish anywhere, but but if you're from Ghana, you're not going to hear Shri or whatever the name of the language is. You know,
how many does he do it with? We don't know how many.
He's got a lot. He does a lot, and and some of the videos vary in quality, but in general, it's
he has someone else filming. Is that the deal?
He does a lot of it with like a selfie stick, so it's all kind of weird 360 aspects, so you can catch everyone's reactions more than him.
Right.
And then some of them are third person filmed. But it's fun. The conversations get to be exactly the same after a while, but it's a good ride for a few hours.
For a few hours?
Yeah. I mean, not all at once, but when you go back to YouTube, it's like...
Now, what is he? Is he able to cash in at all?
Yeah. Yeah. Clearly, he's got 6 million followers, and he goes. It's like Shauma is his name. Shauma NYC on.
Right. What is his real name? Ernie Goldstein.
No, it's like Ari, Jewish something. Yeah. And when he goes overseas, he'll tell them Smith, but he'll still say Ari, but he'll say Smith just to simplify things with people. But like he went to like a Maasai tribe and knew Maasai language in Kenya, and it's pretty impressive.
Well, there's a guy who was a famous autistic guy who was famous for learning the language, but this is even probably more amazing because he was able to learn the Iceland's language within a couple of days and be completely conversant with it.
Right.
So I wonder about how, it's always dangerous to go there's a spectrum and all this stuff. It just sounds like this guy has an amazing ear.
I think he has a great ear. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think,
what does he do?
I think he does this now is the impression I get, but I don't know what he did before that.
Did you, anything else that you saw?
The other thing was, this was a Josh Mankiewicz. I went on Twitter for a minute, and Josh Mankiewicz had retweeted this guy. And I don't know, you don't do a lot of YouTube-y, TikTok-y kind of things.
No, I should do more. Well, I'm not going to do TikTok, but I thought maybe I should do YouTube.
But like YouTube has the quickie videos now, which are very, very much like TikTok in the way that it's served up. And people do, whatever the case, there's just a shit ton of people doing food videos on TikTok, and like a huge amount of them are just like, dump this bag of ultra processed food in with this can of ultra processed food, and then put a layer of cheese on it, and then another bag of here's some chicken fingers, and another, and then cover it with tater tots, and another bag of cheese, and it's just like so many of those. Like, my kids love this recipe, and it's just like, because you're poisoning your children. Like, you watch these videos and you go, of course we're the fattest nation in the world. Look at this shit. But there's a guy called Chef Reacts, and it's a chef who watches these videos and comments as they're going. And and it's very dry, and it's very, it's got plenty of contempt behind it. And then
he's just watching all these people eat this ridiculous stuff.
Well, he's watching them make it and pridefully teach you how to make these fucking things. And then he'll give a rating, and then he'll say whether he'd try it or not, and usually it's like, yes, I'd fucking try it, but he was good for a couple hours too. That was on, I watched him on Instagram.
Yeah, I was
Chef Reacts, I think it's called.
I was going to say something about that. Chef Reacts. I saw that guy once. I think I told you about it on the show, who was really putting down that guy I hate. Everyone hates him. Kitchen Nightmares guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And this was a chef who was showing how everything he was doing to make pasta, whatever he was making, he kept putting in salt. And he goes, "You have how many James Beard awards, and you keep putting salt and everything." It was really amazing to watch because you really felt like, I mean, maybe this guy can cook great, but he really is just popular because he's an asshole, which I hope eventually leaves society. The Simon Cowell, what's his name?
Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know why people are attracted to that after a while. They like to see it. They like to see people get chewed out.
They do. It's a I think, vicarious assholism is a form of, it's a form of politics now, but it used to be just a form of entertainment.
How do you mean it's a form of politics now?
Look at Trump.
Vivek Ramaswamy.
Look at Donald Trump. Look at as I've said many a times, the aspiration isn't to be a rich real estate guy, it's to be shameless.
I was in our post office, the Sherman Oaks, the Encino, Ventana. And so I'm in there, and I may have heard it wrong, but just heard a woman just talking, oh God, that Trump, and just fucking how good he was, how great he is, how good he was, how great he was. It's like, I can't wait for him to come. I hear this. There was in downtown Sherman Oaks. I think I told you this. There was a guy, just like a horribly angry looking guy, holding up Trump 2020-24, and he was getting honks. Not everybody was honking him, right, but that he was getting more than one honk was bothering me. But I can't go down this rabbit hole because all I'll do is hide in a room until November.
Yeah,
but continuing to get upset that one person would want what he has.
Yeah,
that one person would vote for a guy who's a murderer. Who doesn't care. Hates everybody. Is that the real America? Is that what's happening?
It would appear that it's not the real America, but it's a big chunk of it.
Yeah. But I don't know. I have done extremely well of watching nothing for the last maybe 4 months.
Yeah.
I don't watch anything on MSNBC. I watch nothing because even when I'm curious about something, I can if I miss something, I'll quickly catch up on it, through articles and things of that nature.
Right.
But when they cover it moment to moment, are we going to go off the cliff financially? Well, I can't take it anymore. I mean, I really am like months from watching it. Yeah. But when I used to, I would realize, like, I'd follow a story and they would say, well, the Republicans back down at the end. Well, that's all I needed to do. I didn't need to follow the whole thing where maybe they won't back down. Maybe they will back down.
All right.
So it's healthier for me, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we're not less doomed in this next election.
No, but you don't have to be tuned in to every facet of our doom. You can check in and go, yep, still doomed, then go back to your business.
Well, and that's what I tend to do because I know.
For me, not being on social media has taken some of the toxicity out of watching the news. So, since it's not, I don't feel this need to be the joke reporter anymore.
Right, that's true. Yeah.
And so, if I find that the news is just repeating itself, then I do move on now. I don't sit there waiting for the next thing to be new.
I never realized how little information I was getting when I'm all psyched up. Is he going to get arrested today? I would watch it with, devouring the news.
Right.
And it's just so boring.
Well,
because when they don't know,
right.
They don't know, and they're
I don't watch hours of speculation anymore.
No, it can't be.
Ever anymore.
I used to watch it forever.
Sure.
And in fact,
but during the Trump era, he would make sure that there was a morning news item and an afternoon news item with the shit he would do or say. And I think he was very meticulous about about throwing a hand grenade into the news cycle a couple times a day on purpose.
The only thing he's good at is knowing how to get publicity for himself.
Yeah.
That's the only thing he's good at is knowing how to manipulate the media, and that's not a good skill to necessarily have.
No, it's not. It's not the best skill to have. That's for sure.
That sounds like the Verizon commercial. That's not your best plan. Well, no, but it always makes me that Verizon commercial. I was like, it's not your best plan that they. Okay, so I forget. All right, it's like it's funny to me when they go somebody from State Farm. That eventually did become funny. Jake from State Farm.
Yeah.
But is he Jake?
Yeah.
I think he is.
Yeah.
But it was Jake from State Farm before this current campaign.
Uh-huh.
and it was getting slightly funny. It wasn't that funny. Then when he was first brought in, people would bring him, like, he would go into a butcher shop and go, "Thank you, State Farm," and he'd give him a lot of, like, meat. Like, the lady was giving him free meat. It just looked disgusting, actually. So, and then, or they would be so excited that they would send him pizza, free pizza. Not that funny. But now, I like the commercials because I like Andy Reid and I like Mahomes and I like them, and I'm buying into that they have a sense of humor. Now, I'm being deluded in a way, right? I'm being deluded. But not really. Why shouldn't I enjoy it? I like these. I'm not going to watch it a million times, but I like these personalities. I like Travis Kelce. I like Mahomes.
Ow, it's not TV. It's those commercials that get me. It's not TV. It's those commercials that get me.
Am I buying into the hype, or am I just enjoying myself?
I think you're just enjoying yourself, hopefully on a fairly low level, but...
You mean, how much joy should I have it bring me?
Yes.
I think Mahomes is up there, like, in a way, to me, with, like, Joe Namath, how much I love Joe Namath.
Wow.
But I also love Josh Allen.
How can a man in his 60s...
No, it can't be comparable.
How can a man in his 60s fall in love with a quarterback like that?
No, it's not. I mean, I would be lying to say it's the same thing as when I was... It's never going to be the same as when I was a kid, but it made me really happy to watch 2 games all the way through. Every play, I really enjoyed it because I did like the personalities. You don't always have Mahomes against Josh Allen, or next week Mahomes against Lamar Jackson. You just don't have that all the time.
No,
I love it.
Good.
I'm so happy that I didn't go into comedy, sports. You're not
a Barstool guy. No, I don't see you.
Is that what they do?
I don't see Barstool as calling you up.
I don't understand. There's Barstool Sports, and then there's another one named like after, or is it just Barstool? There's another one that's like College Humor. No, that's College Humor was a long time ago, I guess. Yeah. But there's a lot of frat like humor.
It's bro-ish. Yeah.
Bro-ish. Or like when people get like, this is what I was going to say, that I'm very proud of myself. And not that I'm proud of myself, it was like, how sickening was it during the days when I would get into these talk radio things. Like I look at this guy like Skip Bayless. His brother is an amazing chef. And this guy, he's famous just for saying things like professional football players, they shouldn't play anymore. They should have go get a podcast instead. They're better at podcasting. This guy I know he's making money from it, but it's like, I don't know what my comment is about it. It's just that they're making so much money, whether it's Cowherd, or who is the guy who had Aaron Rodgers on? I don't know anything. You said he's kind of that new show that's like, who had Aaron Rodgers on then took him off? I can't remember. McAfee.
Something like that. McAfee,
yeah.
I think.
And they're not all like this. Some of them are just nice guys who joke around, but there's that edge of like, they're in your, they make you think that they're in charge of who's going to win or lose.
Right. Well, I mean, because everything is clickbait based.
Right. And then the football players who like these guys, I don't think they like, or any players who like these guys, I don't think they like these guys. I think they just like that there's some humor involved with it. But their humor, I don't know.
Like who? What do you mean?
Like who would go in? I mean, I would never go on I've never talked to Skip Bayless or Stephen A. Jackson.
Right, but I mean, like Aaron Rodgers got $1 million to go on the McAfee show.
Oh, I'm not sorry for him. I guess McAfee's kind of pitching himself as, isn't he like an outrageous guy? You can say outrageous things in his show.
I think that was his brand, and then ESPN brought him into their fold, and I think he's struggling with the confines of corporate America a little bit.
But yeah, I love this. Like, I can't do what I used to do. It's like almost always those things that you couldn't do were like Kurt Schilling saying something horribly racist, or right. I mean, it's like,
yes.
That's not freedom. The freedom that you wanted was to say, that guy's a gay. Was he gay over there? That's the kind of freedom.
I'm not free to say things that my bosses want to disassociate themselves from.
And I guess that's always happens when you back. They always want someone who's going to get eyeballs. But then if they get too many eyeballs, I can't think of any of these. There's very few of these sports guys. There's some of them I do like, but very, very few of people who will prognosticate.
Yeah, I kind of hate it. I hate sports. I mean,
Talk.
it's the same thing. I mean, it's the same kind of, hours of speculation as politics.
Yes.
It's the same.
Worse.
Who's going to get traded? And then you talk for 2 weeks about the blanks are interested in blank,
Right.
And so now you fucked up blank's life for the,
Yeah.
and you have no actual information that this is going to happen.
But the thing that I can't believe is how long I listened to, got fooled, not fooled, but just would get upset. For example, watching Morning Joe. I watched Morning Joe for 2 or 3 years. I could not even imagine. And people would say, why are you watching Morning Joe if you hate it so much? And I go, I have to watch it because, I don't know what my thing was. Oh, it's all.
I still can't believe how upset you get when I talked about football just earlier this hour.
Right. I understand what you're saying, but I think that what we're portraying is not me getting angry, and that's what the show is about. I think the show is about us needling each other in a way that sometimes gets into our feeling areas. That's what it is. But it's not me doing it or you doing it. It's both of us doing it. Because I know for a fact that you like to get in there. And you're like,
all right. Well, I have to listen back so I can decide later what actually happened that time.
Oh, you don't do your impression? Well, you're not going to listen back. Are you listening back? Are you saying you're objective when you listen? I don't know.
Yeah, listen. I just opened the show talking about how much I hate my fucking self from listening back.
Yes, but you see, I don't want you to apply the same rules. I don't want to yell at myself anymore. I yell at myself too much. So you don't have a problem yelling at yourself because you're not really going that deep into yourself. You're not saying, I'm a terrible person. You're just getting slightly annoyed at yourself.
Yes.
Where I have a difficulty to get slightly annoyed. I have difficulty with any bad cop thing in my life. Anything where I go, what was I doing? I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
It almost always causes some kind of it causes a difficulty. It doesn't have to be a difficulty, but it can cause a difficulty. I don't even know what I'm saying now.
I'm a little
really lost
myself,
it.
I got to be honest.
I lost it there, but I really lost. At least you can remember what borough you're in. How come we don't have boroughs out here? I do feel like, I know that people don't think I'm stupid, but I do think that for a long time, for example, I did not realize how within the animal kingdom and everything, how everything is named after in favor of class systems. Like it's either colonial or if it's like a monarch, it's like a butterflies or it's not, I'm not saying this the right way, but the British colonial, views got attached to a lot of how I'm not saying it right. Okay, forget it. Do you know anything about what I'm saying?
Not enough to dive in, no.
I'm saying that
I can't save you if that's what you're asking.
I'll give you just one small example. They're upset now because they end rightly upset in the world where you name animals and birds and fishes that there's a Hitler bug.
Right.
Because it was named as because, that's a disgusting bug. I'm going to call it a Hitler bug.
Yeah.
Well, then people later on, it gets problematic when you do that. And if it's a colonial person, they're going to call the many times will have called the thing something insulting based on their own existing societal situations. Sure. Like, which is where all those words come from. I'm not even know nothing about the Indian caste system. Never studied it, but I don't even understand how there could be someone called untouchables. It's like I'm so ignorant about that.
Because in science, the discoverer has naming rights.
Right. Oh, I do understand that, but I don't understand how India actually advertised their system as don't go near these people. They're untouchables.
Well, because they were proud of that system. That wasn't an externally applied
I know
system.
they were proud of it, but how were they proud? And when they were proud of it, why were they proud of it? Because they really thought that people
because it was dictated by Hindu laws where you fall in that spectrum.
Right.
It is the fate of a man where his caste lies. It's not an evaluation of the man. You know what I mean?
Interesting. When did you study that? I never studied that. You read about India in school and stuff? I was a history major and didn't study it. Why did I stay away from India? I'd be able to talk about you with this. But even like things like bourgeois, I don't even understand. Like one thing I think that's kind of good about America, even though it's a fake thing, is you kind of have that thing that nobody's better than anybody else, but the whole country is built in all of this racism.
I mean, I think it's not that nobody's better. I mean, certainly there's the racist aspect, but I think
right.
What you had in America was new money. You know, it wasn't a function of the family you were born into so much as your actual wealth. You know, and once there were enough wealthy families, they formed their own class system in New York, and and that just there was classism, but the hope of America is that you aren't born into a caste, and you aren't born. You know, your destiny is in your hands, is the old chestnut. You know,
yes.
But it isn't, you know. But in England, much of your destiny was dictated to who you were born to. You know.
Well, also in England, you're aware of class more because you obviously see class more.
Well, that's what I'm talking
about. And in America, what?
That's what I was saying. In England.
Oh yeah, I agree. I'm just adding on. Okay. So like, it's like I always thought that when you can tell something about other people's culture. It's like the way the British describe mentally, you know, people with mental issues and stuff like that. There's generally a harsher thing. You're mental. I'm not saying they're worse than the United States. They just have their own peculiar thing, or how they describe. It's, let's say, in the old days, how you would describe every woman who was a prostitute, right? So it didn't matter if she was killed, you know, like, which was what happened in a lot of the history of crime. Is it didn't matter. It's like, if a woman got raped in the 60s and 50s, it was her fault in many cases. And even if she was raped, she wouldn't want to admit it. I mean, if they knew that she didn't do it, it always would be held against that person, you know? And so I think it's so weird because we don't, you know, like when you watch true crime, you go, I would throw out almost every case before a certain year, pretty much, because, and I mean, I'm being exaggerating, but clearly you couldn't be a black person and not be guilty. And all of these cases, I mean, there's a case right now where this woman in Texas, she was bullied by the rest of the jurors to say this guy was guilty, and she knew he wasn't guilty. Yeah. And it took her 3 decades. I mean, how many of I felt bullied in the jury for a civil case I was in. You know, I mean, I think like if you go back past a certain amount of years, it must have just been so horrible. I mean, it's still horrible, the justice system, but off the charts.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah, I think that's our history. I mean, I don't know that it's not our present as well. You know, my experiences with the justice system have been, while drudgery have made me come away with pretty positive feelings about those involved. I
agree with you. I think I'm looking at it too negatively because this was the last one was just really terrible because these people were like, I don't care, let's get out of here by 5. But it's a civil case. You know, it's a civil case.
Yeah.
And it's not like you can go, oh, this is indicative of the way the whole nation is going. I think that many times people try to be good jurors and stuff, but it is just amazing the history of class things, like, and even in France, like the bourgeoisie and the proletariat, and like I'm starting to learn, but I don't know much about how the communists, you know, how they kind of took off by saying everybody, workers of the world unite, and so the worker was the good person, but then it got perverted, obviously through Stalin and all those people. But the looking at people as I don't even really like bourgeoisie. What is the bourgeoisie? Is people who are bougie. How does that mean? What does that mean here when someone's too bougie?
Let's look it up so I don't look like an idiot and say the wrong thing.
Yeah, but it's like, I always thought it'd be like, while you're looking it up, I always thought it'd be like people who want to be intellectuals or something. And
I mean, are you thinking that it's common people wanting to be rich kind of thing?
Well, that's what they say when someone's trying to be bougie. But I don't know exactly I just don't know the whole thing. I just am very bad with the whole when they use that word, what they're talking about within the societies that they're talking about.
In Marxist terms,
that's what I think it is.
It is the capitalist class who own most of society's wealth and means of production. The conflict of interest between the bourgeoisie and the proletariat.
So if someone's being bougie,
but when they're talking about it in modern English, it says the middle class, typically with reference to its perceived materialistic values or conventional attitudes. The rise of the bourgeoisie at the end of the 18th century, for example.
Yeah. Right. Well.
So that's where my disconnect always comes, is because when I hear it, I think of it being the upper class, the wealthy class.
Right.
But it's usually, I also hear it. It's usually used to reference the middle class, kind of. So both are true. Within Marxism, it is the moneyed class. Right,
but also in Marxism, they're trying to say that the people who want to be a member of that class, that's the danger, I don't know enough about Marxism, but the danger is that if you really believe that if you really believe in the rights of the workers, which is really the basic thing to learn from all of these historical things, do you believe there should be a union or there shouldn't be a union? To me, without a union, without some kind of restraint, whether it's through laws or through a union, you're going to have a society where just the people who want to, just take all the wealth and dominate and that's what we have in America, basically, is people who are too wealthy have made the laws so much favoring them, and they've used propaganda so well to make people think that, we're all taxed and all this kind of stuff. It's particularly pernicious, the American system for me, because it's like I've been it since I was a kid. I've seen these fucking Republicans, and the basic thing was I don't want the government to take my money, and I don't want there to be any money for you to do, for poor people. That's the philosophy of the Republican Party.
It's not that I don't want there to be money so much as I don't want to pay for you.
I don't want to pay for you, but they convince people. It's like when who's the woman who ran and she's like she's popular. She's in Massachusetts, and she was just saying, you're using the roads, like you're saying you did this. You didn't do this in isolation, just like Elon Musk didn't do it in isolation. He had government funds. Yeah, right. Yeah. So this whole idea that. Anyway, this is probably useless because I don't think we disagree on this at all. But why should we only talk about things we disagree about? But in general,
we should both be. It's the conversations where neither of us are really on solid ground where I get worried in terms of what we know.
Yeah. Well, but then the other part of that is if I only talked about things I knew about, then
no. I mean, it's I would rather talk about my opinion about it rather than how Marxism relates to it, because then I become.
Right. That makes total sense. That makes total sense. But I've always believed in the idea of a private enterprise or, everybody having the chance, but I don't really know that much about, I don't know historically about how much, although I can guess how much capitalism has just taken so many people out of the equation because they can't raise the money and they're so economically downtrodden from years and years, or their racism, and just this idea that anybody can raise the money and that's why capitalism is great doesn't make sense, is wrongheaded to me. So and to me, I've always wanted to just keep fighting back with taxes because I don't know any other way to get the money away from these people but to tax them, and they should be taxed more. We wouldn't have any shortfall in Social Security if we taxed even another up to $1 million or up to $2 million, or took a donut hole. You stop at $1 million, you start back at $10 million. There's been a thing like take Social Security up to $1 million, then between $1 million and $10 million, no Social Security, then $10 million up, you pay back again. That would be wonderful. There would be no downsides of that. But it's amazing how powerful.
Well, but I mean, you're talking about fairness, and that really has little to do with capitalism. Like fairness is an add-on to capitalism. Like fairness is an option.
Well, what about Adam Smith? How about Adam Smith? Those people were saying that they were saying that there could be.
We can't talk Marx, but Adam Smith should be good.
I'm just saying, like, here's the thing. When you're saying we can't talk Marx, I'm just saying, I'm saying it in a way like.
This slam on you, by the way. This is me going, right. Okay, now Adam Smith, which I know nothing about. Why can't we just talk
I just happened to hear. Adam Smith's one of these guys who was basically saying if it's done the right way, Wealth of Nations, he wrote that book about how it could be, how the.
No, I know he's an economist, but I know that he wrote about capitalism, but I couldn't tell you Smithian philosophy.
I just feel like from like just even the when the argument that you just never give the money out and you always have to pay for it. All of that is based on greed of Republicans because they're not affecting their lives. And it's just so frustrating because if they weren't that evil, we'd have so much more better country. But they're really, really, really evil. If you're in Sweden, you don't worry about this as much because nobody argues over social issues as much, even though there are right-wing things coming into there too.
Right.
But I would love to live in a country where we're like, of course we agree that we all deserve health care.
Right. Well, that's why what I mean by fairness is an add-on. The only way to make capitalism fair is to inject some socialism into it.
Well, you have to have, and that's the other thing is you have to have socialism in some form of socialism, which is however you ever want to call it. We all pay in, or it's just that it's
not a dirty word to me, so I don't mind calling it socialism.
It's not. I know it's not a dirty word to you. I know it's not a dirty word to you. But Morning Joe used to hate it. He used to go. Morning Joe would get the next. There was a Democrat who wanted to run in 20, and he said, "You're a capitalist, right? You're a capitalist, right?" And the guy's like, "Well, I'm not really a capitalist." And then Joe was going nuts on him. Well, this guy's not even a capitalist. I'm not a capitalist. We're all living in the country that we came in. Right. We didn't buy the whole thing.
All right.
So it's like, of course, that's just politics, and the desire that things get better in the future is really my problem. I'm not decided completely, but it's a nowhere. It's no win. It's a no-win situation, like Vietnam. That things are going to be better. And that's the only way I can be happy. That's probably the add-on to it that makes it unlivable.
Well, I mean, this is a little Pollyanna-ish, but I think you can tip the scales a little bit by taking some action to make some aspect of it better,
No, I'm telling you, there's a book called Loving What Is by Byron Katie. Her thing is going exactly with what you say. You're not going to be, no matter how much you complain about some of these things, or when Brett Dennen wrote a great song about there's no reason things are this way. It's how they've always been, and they intend to stay. You're not going to change it just by getting angry at it.
Right.
And so that's probably just a message from me more than anybody else, because I'm someone who thinks I have to save the world. Thinks that everything should be right. Everything's got to be fair.
I think those are nice things to be, but you can't. You can only make. I think you can make small things more fair.
Right.
You can't make the world more fair.
Well, you also a friend of mine compares it to, it's like trying to change the way the Earth, there's certain things that are happening that we can't control, orbiting around the sun and all these different things that if we just had more trust in that the whole system is a difficult thing, because you don't want to say to people who are miserable, don't be miserable. No. But it's more of a philosophical thing about my family was everything's black and white. Everything is, it's like I was so miserable because everything was so miserable. And, I couldn't like Jesse Jackson because he did the thing with Martin Luther King. It's like this living with it should be fair and it's not fair and I'm miserable about it. I don't think was so great for me. I don't think it's so great for anybody probably.
No.
And like, you're evil. I mean, it's not even, I don't want to get to the bit like there's no evil, but like everybody was evil.
But
with my
ascribing
family.
evil to everybody is.
That's what my family did. Like Jesse Jackson, I couldn't like, and I'm not saying my family more than other people. Just that's a very Jewishy, judgmental thing.
But like I've told you before, I got very much scolded for that.
I know that's good though, and it's good. Don't
Not
do that
very
around Dave
much
Anthony.
Scolded, but I mean that
Right.
the message was not the same message you were getting. The message was don't call people evil when you just simply because you disagree with them.
But that was a different time period too. Like your dad would have been more like Norm, Dave Gruber's dad, as he went along. And I don't know if he lived long enough to start to realize that the other side was very evil.
Till my age,
right? What year was that?
1990.
What year?
He died in 94.
Okay, so.
And he scolded me during the Reagan era.
Well, yeah, but the Reagan, I could see why he did, even though he might have been mistaken because Reagan was evil with a smile, right?
Yes.
But you could see how he can make that argument then way more than now. He wouldn't make that argument with Trump.
No, he wouldn't.
No, he was. Why am I getting upset with your father? I'm really
go
bad.
for it. I don't care. He was a lawyer. He can take it.
But I'll tell you something though. As a person, I think that serves you being raised that way to be a little bit more to look at the other side. It is a good way.
I mean, I was raised. I had empathy forced on me a lot of the time.
Well, it did stick.
I think so. I hope so.
Oh, okay. Towards Republicans, or
more than
just
you,
towards the other?
More than you, but not really.
I'm not. I don't think it's been. I'm not. It's not that I'm proud or not proud.
The one thing that we are the same on is we cannot comprehend why people are for Trump. Like
that's true.
It is such a disconnect with any human instinct about people that it's,
unless the propaganda
truly incomprehensible.
Right, it's incomprehensible, and it's the result of real propaganda. It's like when people, like a Uber guy once told me, we're talking, he goes, but Hillary Clinton, they really did think, he was believing all the things that he heard about Hillary Clinton, just believing it, because otherwise, why would they be saying it over and over and over again? And then it just settles in.
But I really think the essential disconnect, I mean, at the most primal level, it's, we all agree about Trump. But we'll say he's terrible, that's bad. And they go, he's terrible, it's fantastic.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the scary part. They like his policies.
Well, they like his tactics largely too. They like the bully part.
Well, and I think a lot of that's unexpressed racism of themselves. I think a lot of people.
I don't even know if racism is. I think it's just rage in general. I mean, I don't
rage.
I think racism is it's slanderous to attribute that to everybody, but I think you can safely attribute rage to everybody.
Right. But rage based on in a lot of ways, it's sad to see how effective the propaganda is. Because for years, people were buying into, let's give less money to run Social Security, when that's not what they meant. They wanted Social Security. So they really were hoodwinked, fooled, and then hardened to believe that all the money is, with Reagan, it was the black woman with the
welfare queens.
Welfare queens, yeah. So, but at the end of the day, as the kids say,
it's the end of the day. Oh.
It's the end of the day. At the end of the day, I feel like I'm much more happier than I ever was, even though people wouldn't know it from this show.
Did you want me to hang up on that?
No. No, I was saying, actually, we've been done. It's really funny because over the weekend, I was like, I, of course, will always over-exaggerate anything that you hear because I still have that side of me. It's like, what did Alex say? What did Alex say? But I was actually thinking the tendency of the show is going up in terms of enjoyment. But I don't know if that's how you feel when you edit it and stuff like that. But it must be frustrating.
The only reason I brought up the Alex thing last week was because a listener went, "Come on, Andy, it's clear you want out." Remember that?
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, in a truthful way, you've talked about not wanting out, but it's like you can't do this forever type of thing.
Yeah.
So that as soon as you maybe had said that, then I was like, oh, is he pulling the plug? But when you think about it and you're doing the most of the work on it, so then you can see it's like not my place to say, if you get too frustrated doing it, it's not my place to say, oh, you shouldn't get frustrated doing it. But right now I can see no end, Josh. I see us. And I don't think, and the other thing is, I don't want you to be frightened that I'm saying we can take it to the next level. I don't think we can.
I'm not frightened. I'm dubious.
But I do have this feeling like, just like when I was a little kid and Andy Kindler's coming up to bat, I always have that part of my mind that there are a lot of people, and it's a very dangerous area. There are a lot of people who enjoy this show. Like I said to you last week, for the reason that it is the show that you go for the banter.
Right.
You don't go for the topic. And if you go for the topic in a show and they're bantering too much, true crime, whatever, you want to kill them. You want to kill both of them at some point.
Yes.
So now that is so. But then I want the payday. I just want like a $50 million deal for both of us, not $100 million.
I think that's fair. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, why be piggish?
Who would pay? AARP? Who would pay that kind of money?
I think that might be our best shot.
Well, I'm sorry. I do feel bad that we got into an argument today. I don't know what it is that when we get into, we really know how to argue with each other. I think it's like a brother. It's not brothers. It's like two people who are married.
A little bit. It's a little bit like that.
A little bit like
Except
that.
I don't bicker. I don't have those fights in my marriage. So you're all I have.
No. Well, hopefully, no. What I'm learning in my life is I didn't have friendships with men.
Yeah.
Or anybody else that were as healthy as I've had with you, because we've gotten into the mix with it, and you learn a lot by getting into the mix.
Right. Exactly. It's getting out of the mix. That's the tough part.
Just stop saying how you're canceling the show.
Did you hear, before we go, even though we're way late, did you hear Jen Kirkman's voicemail this morning?
Oh, I didn't hear it. She was talking about the version. She said something a week ago that I was confused about. She goes, "Oh, you didn't back announce it." And of course, I got busy and didn't see what she was talking about.
She was talking about the new version of Karen, which she asked what it was before she actually heard me say what it was.
And it's so great, and she enjoys it, right?
She did, but this was her new pitch.
Oh,
is for a special. And because she says you joke about replacing me with Gallman, I joke about replacing you with her. So we should do a 3 Jews and 1 fake Jew spiral. So you and Goldman do an hour, and me and Jen do an hour, and that'll be our special.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
But that's, again, more work for you, though.
Not too much. It would be enough of variety, so I'd enjoy it, probably. You just have to figure out how you and Gary can record your own, so I don't have to
right, without you having to come over this. Yeah. I think I'm almost ready to do that.
You could just record a Zoom. Would be fine, really.
Yeah, we're not trying to replace the amazing sound advances that you brought.
The sound,
the soundscape. I have good news for you.
You got a new cord?
I ordered a cord. It's coming tomorrow.
Fantastic.
Susan ordered it for me.
Nice.
And, of course, like a typical thing, I already put this one in the Goodwill box without realizing that Monday happened first.
Okay.
But the thing that's very exciting about it is...
Does it flip over your ears? Does it come...
See, I like to be needled. It's not that I don't like to be needled.
It's a fine line. Sometimes you hit a landmine. Sometimes you hit a landmine. That's the price I pay.
This is a XLR, which I've always thought that thing was called. And it is. It's an XLR.
XLR to USB, though.
XLR to USB-C. See, because what I did, I was just about to pull this out to show you that you gave me this
just a USB. You have to use an adapter for that shit.
Now we've eliminated the adapter. There should be
no Irene.
mind. The sound of advice is like a chalkboard on your spine. But I hope you get everything that you want and do everything that you should. And I hope the world is gentle when it teaches you what I never could. The world is real, though it may seem artificial, I'd agree. Hey, where's the appeal in mingling with all that mediocrity? Well, it's your game to lose. Nirvana or hell just depends on what you choose. But I hope you get everything that you want and do everything that you should. And I hope the world is gentle when it teaches you what I never could. Not as sweet as what you earn, but I hope you get everything that you want, do everything that you should. And I hope the world is gentle when it teaches you what I never could. I hope you do everything that you want and hopefully do something good. And I hope the world is gentle when it teaches you what I never could. I never could. Thank you.
Hey, I'm back to you know what? I'm back to this for a while.
The leaning in a little too much? Oh, no, the real earphones.
Yeah, just because that was bothering me a little bit. Well, and I don't think it hurt the show, though.
No, it was just a 10-minute ordeal.
That's weird because ordeal's a hard punchline. Ordeal.
I don't know. I worked it.
Well, did you?
I did.
Or would you say that you're a brilliant wordsmith
this new chord of yours brings a lot more power to the table. Hold on.
Oh, it does?
Seems to.
Isn't that amazing? First of all, it's lighter, and the other chord has...
not interesting. Okay.
Do you mean I had a bad mic all this time because your stupid, cheap chord you gave me? God damn you. God damn you, Josh.
Once again, paying the price of being a freeloader.
I don't know if I was so much a freeloader. In that case, I'm more someone who takes a present, forgets why he was given it, and continues on in that vein.
Yeah.
Josh, Elvis, Weinstein... thank you. I got a thing from you in the mail. I won't mention it on the air, but thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You know
You're
what?
welcome.
Okay, stop talking about it. I have to edit it out. Why am I so terrible? You're not that terrible, Andy, but you're not good. Who are you? New voice in your head 5.
Talking about editing someone out, you've edited me completely out of the conversation.
What? Oh, no. This is my new plan.
Oh, good. At least you have a fucking plan.
Oh wait, now here's the thing. I spoke to Stewie Lerman.
Oh, good.
Yesterday. I haven't even talked to Jen since I think that's a great idea with the Gary Goldman thing. So, did you tell her that you liked the idea?
I told her I liked the idea, but I haven't spoken to her since.
Okay. So I spoke to Stewie Lerman, and it was really fun. But should we do this for next week? Because it's questions day.
I don't know. Do you have 45 minutes on Stewie Lerman?
I don't think I have a lot on.
All right, so
but it was really fun.
Just give us the update. How about that?
Okay, I will give you the update and I'll give you the update. It was so amazing, and he was so sweet, and it was like just talking to him yesterday. And he said that Paul Gray and I, who was the guitar player in my band. That before, he was a guy from the South Bronx. Didn't even graduate high school. He doesn't even know how he got into Binghamton.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how. But he was. I didn't know that. He seemed like because he had taken a lot of music and music theory classes. You had taken a lot of those things.
Yeah.
And so
also they said yes to everybody. Sorry, go ahead.
I have to take a break. So, not SUNY Binghamton. SUNY Binghamton was the Harvard of SUNY schools.
Sure.
All right, now listen to me. Okay, now you broke in with your joke. I hope you're happy. So he said that he was kind of like not from the streets, but basically from the poor section of the South Bronx of New York, and so that was all
once you're
weird.
from the South Bronx, you don't really have to convince people.
I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't even know what the South Bronx is. But he said that when he got up and met me and Paul, he had never met anybody who was creative before like that. And we were and he was saying that, he was just really praising how he thought I was a go-getter, which I never thought I was a go-getter. But I guess people think of me as that.
I think you were a go-getter, it seems like to me, back then.
Yeah, I was a go-getter. Oh, here was it. I was a go-getter. But I felt guilty. It's so funny the way it works. Because Paul yelled at me about my inferior guitar playing, and because I hated practicing guitar beyond the first thousands of hours I put in as an acoustic guitarist, I thought that I wasn't working. I thought I'm bad. I don't practice, blah, blah, blah.
I'm not saying you were a hard worker. You were a go-getter. They're different.
Right, but I was a go-getter.
Yes.
That's right. I was a go-getter. And also what he's saying is charismatic.
Right.
And so it showed, and he was very shy. In fact, we talked about the fact that he, I think is the greatest guitarist I've ever heard. I mean, I was very high when I heard him, but he was unbelievable and just could do anything on the guitar. And so, but he said that he got to the point where he never liked performing. He liked being with us.
Yeah.
But performing was never his thing. And so, he eventually did go into, he went into music, like he had a degree in music therapy, and then he went into all this. So he ended up marrying Suzy Roach.
Tell me more. I don't know. I don't know.
You don't know the Roaches?
I did. I just didn't have context for it to matter. I didn't know their
but you were
first
so
names.
Sure, I was saying, Suzy Roach. I think it's the Roaches, right? The Roaches?
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know anything about this band, but he worked all on the East Coast and all this kind of stuff, and then he just doing all this music and stuff, and then all these years later, and so many of my memories, like I had thought that my memory, because I was so had a bad opinion of myself until about 3 months ago. I had this terrible opinion about myself. I thought that he had ghosted me. Now he's telling me, remember when I came out to your parents' house in Queens that time? I've never said to him, I thought you ghosted me.
Right.
I'm not
That's
saying
good.
that to him.
Well
yeah,
planned.
I don't want to say that
Right.
to him. I mean, I'm not afraid of it, but the point is that,
that's not the point of all this.
that's not the point of all this. And then I said, who wrote that? He goes, after all these years, he sung a song to me, in the first email, playing my harmonica. I'm living in Santa Monica, playing my harmonica in a rock and roll band by the sea. So I said, whose song was that? He goes, that was your song. So I was like, I blocked all of that stuff out. I blocked when he came out. He even came out and did he stay with me? No. I think it was we visited him in New York with my comedy friend. So anyway, the point was,
You stayed in touch longer than you remembered, first of all. It sounds
longer than I remember.
Yeah.
Yes. And to at least 84.
all right.
Right? But
Still
then-
40 years ago, so you're allowed the
That's a long
slip.
time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So, yes. So the truth is, I was absolutely, which is a very good thing to learn therapeutically, how off you can be. How off
Right.
that you can be. I mean, maybe, look, everyone finds me annoying at some point. Right?
No, sorry. I fell asleep at the switch there.
So whatever, the fact that he would say, whenever I would talk too much, he would sing Dave Brubeck's song.
Right.
Did
Take
not
5.
mean,
Right.
yeah, right. But he was just a more quiet guy. So anyway, it was wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. He told me that, and I want to tell you this story that I think is such a hilarious story. He'll probably want to tell it, but he won't be on the show that soon. His father's brother was B.S. Pulley.
Okay. A name I
You know
know,
that
but I
is?
can't connect it.
Okay, the only time you might have heard B.S. Pulley is in the movie Broadway Danny Rose, when Woody Allen is afraid he's getting killed, so he's at this Italian wedding, and he's just agreeing with everything everybody says. And he goes, "Hey, you like that comic B.S. Pulley?" He goes, "Very good, very funny." He goes, "He puts his thing in a box. What's funny about that?" And then Woody Allen turns, he goes, "If you ask me, a Mr. Myron Cohn, that's funny." You know, he turns like on a dime to the guy. Am I making sense?
No, I'm just trying to. I don't think that's where I've heard B.S. Pulley. I think I've heard it through the history of comedy thing that I was working on.
Okay, so there's two stories. He was a very funny comedian. He was considered a dirty comedian, but he didn't use dirty words. He used all these code words, right? And he was, he said his uncle was hilarious. He tells this story of when and this is like 6 years old. His uncle says, or 7 years old, "You want to go see Merv? Go with me tonight? Go out?" And he goes, yeah, I'd love to go out there. He takes him to Merv Griffin. He doesn't know he literally doesn't know what Merv Griffin is. Yeah. Right? And they put him in the audience. He goes, whatever anybody said, whatever you hear, you just say, "My uncle B.S. Pulley. My uncle," that's all you respond. "My uncle B.S. Pulley." Uh-huh. So he gets into the audience, and he all of a sudden who's the greatest uncle? And this is not something that he is enjoying. He's, Stewie is scared to death. Right. He's in the audience. He's scared. He's like, "My uncle B.S. Pulley. And, who did this to you? My uncle who's a degenerate gambler? My uncle B.S. Sit down," he yells at him. And he starts crying in the audience. That's
fantastic.
Crying. And after the show, he's, and of course his uncle picks him up, and everything is great. And the one funny thing is so funny. He goes, he would call his penis Rodney. That's how he referred to Rodney. Yeah, my Rodney. So this is a funny story. Is that years later, I think it's his son or somebody related to him is a lawyer and represented Rodney King in he acts like when you went to, "Here's Rodney King," that was him. Next to him was his lawyer. That is, so within the family, they always thought that was somewhat funny.
That's ironic.
So that's it. That's the thing.
It's a good story. So good. I love the B.S. Pulley story.
Yes. And also, he said, "Do you have those tapes that we made?" And I remember this. We went to a studio. I do remember one studio, but I don't remember him. It's just so weird. I'm so weird. And so we went and made...
Memory's not how tough things are. Memory's not so reliable.
Yeah, I know, it's
not just yours, but anyone.
It's everybody's. Yeah. So I did this. Yeah, I don't have to castigate myself. So I did this in-studio thing. I remember because we did some songs from the show I had done at college. And he goes, "Do you still have that?" I said, "Well, I have it on the master tape." So he said, "Well, if you download to something," he goes, "I'll remix it."
Oh, nice.
Because he knows what he's doing.
Do you have like 2-inch tape on it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, good.
Or
luck.
whatever the two.
Good luck with that process.
Oh, you mean you don't think a place out here will do it?
There's probably 3 places in town that will transfer.
But it's not as much.
Tape.
It used to be a place in Burbank that was great.
Yeah, a lot of them are gone now.
Yeah, it's not a big business, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, it has to be a business.
It's
Someone
a business.
is doing. It's a business.
Yes.
And I bet it has not deteriorated.
But it requires the dedication of a core of nerds to keep it alive, kind of a thing.
Yes.
I have a hookup for you who I can ask who will find.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Luckily, my wife's ex-husband's a Tape 11 record producer. So.
Oh, that's right. Of course. You guys, you talk to him every once in a while? Sure.
Yeah, sure.
What's the matter with me?
I mean, it's not that automatic that we would talk, but yeah, in fact, we're friends, and yes.
I know. I mean, so I'm very much on the high. I had a really fun table read today. Everybody was nice to me.
Good in person and everything.
In person, and here's what and I wanted to. I don't know where Susan went. She's somewhere, but this was the thing that was so great. Because of my OCD. My life is, except for being late for this, for almost everything else, I am on early. I'm early.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a stress reducer, isn't it?
What's that?
It's a stress reducer, isn't it?
That is what I found.
Yes.
That is exactly what I found. And so I got there, and I was to tell Susan, she's in the kitchen, but Susan would have been proud of me. I used to go to the table reads and start shoving food down my throat. And then by the time I got to the table,
right.
I said, I'm here to do a goddamn job. I'm already a little nervous. They go, do you want some food? It's a little bit of a madhouse. He goes, no, I still looked. But I went right into this like a green room area, right off of the where the table read was. And I walk into the table read like a regular professional. The only one, there's one other guy masked in the room. I was masked, not during the show, but I was masked during every other part of it. But avoiding the buffet line is like a major, it's like, I still have that part, like, there's free food there. There could be a bagel from New York over there.
Right.
There could be, what if they brought in, like, everybody, and it's like the fact that I also didn't have any stomach upsets. I wasn't going like this when I was reading. And it was like a brand new world. It was a brand new world when you're not as needy as you used to be.
That's fantastic.
Yes. I hope I don't get so well that I'm not funny anymore or...
Don't spike the ball, okay?
I always tell Susan, everybody loves the act like you've been there before. So perfect. When you told me that first. Act like you've been there before.
And speaking of places we've been before...
It's time for questions. What do you want to know? We love your questions so much. It's half our show. Half our show.
Pickle says, how do you think you would have done at the Apollo? I think it's hard it's been traditionally labeled hard for white people to do well, comedians to do well at the Apollo.
I think so.
So, but if we get into a discussion about it, it's going to sound like the two old Jews again talking about
we
racism.
won't try to figure out why it's hard.
Dan Marsh says, hey guys, Josh, if funding was not an issue, which documentary that someone else botched would you like to do over? Wow, he's taking it to the next level.
I don't know. It's even with funding, there's other issues. It feels like a very hostile act to redo someone's. Money aside, it feels like a hostile act to remake someone's movie.
Maybe it's a thing like somebody I think the question, and I'm changing the question, who haven't you done that you'd like?
It doesn't have, not necessarily botched, but like I'd love to have I'd love to have access to the Get Back footage and see what I could make out of it. That wasn't 8 hours, and still conveyed.
You think it was too long?
It wasn't too long.
No,
it wasn't too long for me
it.
to enjoy, and I think because I think he didn't want to be a dick and redo Let It Be either. I think he wanted to do something that was different enough so that
Is it Peter Jackson?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that that's what he thought, but I feel like he did it in a way that didn't just go, look at that fuck,
Yeah. No, we don't want that. We don't want that. And if you approach it that way, then you're like Phil Spector, who had to put on the back of his album, get ready for new Beatles phase.
But any of those docs that, that were produced by the subject of the doc, that's where I would go. Man, there's better questions than the ones that were asked here.
But you like when the son of the Wrecking Crew, he did a good job.
He did.
Son of the guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know why is my job to argue or to say something stupid?
Well, no, I mean,
I do it anyway, right?
It's, there's enough things to argue about that you can wait until there's an actual difference of opinion.
Okay, now you have to...
BD West retweeted Andy's little art piece here, a little photo of some garbage on the street featuring a doll on the ground.
Yeah.
BD West says, Andy, why? Why would you start posting dead doll in garbage art photos after I confess my deepest, darkest fears to the podcast? Porcelain dolls, etc. Signed, dismayed yet still devout Kindlerite and Weinsteinate.
You know why? Because I'm like, you don't know what I'm going to do next. I'm going to get into your grill, or it's your head that I get into. I get into your grill or your brain.
You can get into my head via my grill.
I've taken more pictures of that area. I find it, and then someone says maybe it's from a when they eviction. But it is in a weird area off the freeway.
I like it better than run over child.
You wouldn't document that?
Don't Call Me Boopsy says, pointing out how Worcestershire sauce isn't pronounced how it's spelled, the greatest form of humor or the absolute greatest form of humor? Huh. I'm torn.
Pointing out how Worcestershire? Is it Worcestershire?
You just got to
Worcestershire.
You got it's. I think it's all about confidence, really.
Okay, you do.
Because I did it once through, and now that I'm thinking about it, I said Worcestershire sauce.
That's it, probably, right? Worcestershire.
What gets me out the grocery store door.
Tweet Bahar is back, and Andy and Gary Goldman walking around must look like a scene from Midnight Cowboy, except both guys are Jewish. It is. It does. And he does a thing where he walks. He doesn't know. We went on a 5-mile walk. He didn't know where we were walking. So I occasionally, he might even
and
cross
you said,
over
I'm
into my
walking
path.
here. I'm walking here. See, I brought it back to Midnight Cowboy.
I know, but someone just tried to bring that back in some like commercial or something like that. It was a commercial. Oh, it's the Mayhem guy, the goddamn Mayhem guy.
Yeah,
I think he's saying, "I'm walking here and walking here." I hate the Mayhem guy.
You're supposed
and I'm going to call my Allstate.
Exactly. You want to insure against him.
Yes. And when I talked to my Allstate guy today, who I just switched because I was so angry at the commercials that I had to see what it was all about.
Stephen L. Yates says, do you guys have snippets of old obscure songs from long ago stuck in your head? Lately, I've been humming the theme from the 1966 Vincent Price movie, Dr. Goldfoot and the Girl Bombs.
I don't believe him. See, I do believe that he is involved in a religious organization now.
Yeah.
But a lot of the other stuff I find, there's no such movie, Dr. Goldfoot and the Girl Bombs.
Oh, how wrong you are, my friend.
Well, then hum a little bit.
I can't. But I do. In line with that, I do occasionally lately get the theme from Family Affair in my head.
What is that?
And I think at some point it goes, Family Affair, starring Brian Keith, Sebastian Cabot.
It's such a terrible, it's not a great song.
It's not,
but it's not bad.
But for some reason, it's in my head forever.
What is your theory about ear?
Because I haven't seen it. My theory is that it's a hardwiring memory kind of thing. Like it's a different kind of memory storage than other things.
But a lot of times, and I know it's a bad song. If I heard it on the radio, I'd hate it.
Yeah.
And I can't stop singing it sometimes.
Yeah. I know you walk around going, I have type 2 diabetes, but I manage it well.
And to tell it's a little pill with a story to tell. Again, I find it doubtful that they're having a big celebration musical about her switching.
No, it's a commercial. It is their show. It's meta.
Oh, it's meta.
It's meta.
I get it.
Yeah.
Again, they're actually at the commercial for Jardians.
Yes.
Right. It's not a musical.
No, it's a musical commercial.
Right. Which I always like.
Seth Dick III says, I want the Lions to lose because they have always lost, and I want to see their fans continue to be miserable losers. Sad football fans in their garish outfits are hilarious.
Well, that's sad because I'm a big Detroit fan.
Are you?
I like Detroit as a city. In fact, one of our shows we enjoy on HGTV is Bargain Block, where these two wonderful guys, they restore homes in Detroit.
They buy a block of homes for a roll of quarters.
No, they buy them seriously. At first, when they started the show, they were buying them for $1,000 to buy a home.
Yeah.
But now they're up to $10,000 on a home.
See what good work they've done.
They do a very, very nice situation.
I'm not against the Lions, even as a Vikings fan, same division and all. I'm rooting for the Lions.
Yes. It's excuse me. Who are they playing again? Oh, San Francisco. I'm not saying
with
I'm
the
hiccuping.
heartburn. You didn't. I thought you didn't. I thought you didn't go to the buffet. I thought you didn't go to the craft service table.
Who knows if any story I've ever told has any truth to it? Well, what were we talking about? What?
Exactly.
Stewie did 5 sentences in a row. I said, I don't know where I am. He goes, you said this, and then you said that before it, then you said that. Why don't we have those? He's the same age as us.
Yeah.
Why don't we have those brains?
Because I have other gifts.
Oh, wait. Also, you're not as old as him and us.
No,
this is something remarkable.
That would speak against me, really.
Also, Stewie's mom is 99 years old, lives in assisted living.
No, when you're 99, it's years young.
Years young. She lives in assisted living, and she's doing great. She has all her faculties, and she's doing great. That's a pretty amazing story at 99.
It is.
Yes. Yes. You know what I'm worried about? I know that you'll be with me when I pass, but who's going to shepherd you?
I don't know. I think about that all the time. With all my,
do you need a younger mentor?
Fucking old ass friends.
You got to have one mentor, young man. Yeah, you're the youngest. You're like the youngest person in your group.
I'm gonna have to get 2 funeral suits because there's gonna be one at the dry cleaner where I'll need it.
Didn't you used to dry clean you and your dummy suit? That's what I heard.
I did.
don't know
Yes,
if it's true.
I worked out a deal. The dry cleaner actually did a decal on the back of the dummy's jacket, and we got it in trade.
Remember that time you were screaming, how could the price be the same when this is a tiny suit and clearly there's more material?
That's when I changed places and got me a deal.
Oh, Jardy. Go ahead.
Humok says, do you find it easier to write to a particular subject? For instance, is it easier to be asked to write 10 jokes? Is it easier to be asked to write 10 jokes about Swedish accountants rather than just be asked to write 10 jokes? For me, it is. The more you direct my brain, the better off I'm going to deliver, I think, generally.
I would say, I think, I guess flashed on, I haven't been on staffs, so I didn't think I could answer the question. But
just the concept of writing 10 jokes is pretty foreign to Andy. Over any
that's like time. 7 more than I have. Well, do you count the ones that I bought that I'm what's it when you
stealing?
Co-sign. No, you co-opt. No, you sell it in a store on a co-sign.
You're consigning? Consignment, yes.
I'm if people actually believe that I was like the character on the show, I don't think I'd have any friends.
I know, you couldn't step outside.
Grow says, Cat Williams stole Andy Stave the industry bit without cognac. Now we just get the thought spiral boys on Shannon Sharp's. Okay, you'll have to quit. I'm not good. I messed up.
You're not good, and you just came from a reading, which is what's even sadder. Cat Williams stole Andy's State of the Industry bit without the cognac. Now we just got to get the Thought Spiral boys on Shannon Sharp's podcast to call him out. It's like a reverse Living Single/Friends situation. Parenthetically, Living was a black sitcom, which Friends copied one for one.
Is that true?
I believe
Living was a black sitcom?
Living was a black sitcom. That much I'm with. I never watched it enough to know that.
You mean it was a black sitcom here or in Britain?
No, it was here.
They took a show that had all
Queen
black
Latifah
people?
et al.
And they whitened that whole show?
Well, that's what is being asserted by Grow.
He is. I have gone to him a lot, and he happens to be. Wow, this is bringing up some heavy stuff for me. Christopher Citro says, flew to Manhattan last weekend and took.
But I actually thought Living Single was more about black women, a group of female friends. Overall, that was the thrust of that show.
It's like a reverse Living Single. I'm going to have to check this out because this will not stand. Is all I'm saying. This will not stand.
No, it stood. It's stood
okay.
for 30 years now. In fact,
I'm steamed about it. Christopher Citro says flew to Manhattan last weekend and took in a comedy open mic at the Midtown Grizzly Pear. The best guy was an elementary school dean with bits about the gross and cruel things the kids do. He won a free spot for next week. have any memories doing comedy in Midtown?
Why, yes,
that
I've
level.
played Broadway.
Excuse me.
The
let me
theater
try
at
to-
44th and Broadway.
Oh, B.S. Pulley is a lead in Guys and Dolls.
Ah,
There's another
okay.
way to see
All
him.
right,
But I've
okay.
never seen that
All right.
movie.
All right, now it's all coming into focus.
I guess he got a lot of acting work, and he was mob backed. This is all from Stewie.
Yeah.
So he was mob. He was got to be friends with Sinatra and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
But he was quite a character.
it would seem.
No, I started out in L.A. and never did. The only bad gigs I did were like one-nighters outside of New York, like Jersey. I never busked or anything like that.
Yeah.
And mostly those are supposed to be the worst clubs in the world. I don't know what that Grizzly Pear is.
Did you do
but there's-
You never did Caroline's or even?
I did do Caroline, sure. But this is open mic thing.
Yeah, this is an open mic. No, I never had to do any Grizzly sets.
Yeah, then the Boston Comedy Club, which was in New York, they had people busking. But no, that's got to be. I always think like, boy, I couldn't do comedy if you had to go through what you have to go through. But I did go through it.
You did. I mean, just the fact that you started in L.A. is like, ugh.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have started. I could have, or would have. I don't know what would have gotten me to L.A. without stand up to begin with, but
Yeah, and I don't know. Yeah, and in my case, I would have had to have moved away to try.
all right.
Right. Johnny Whoop says, "How do you feel about erotic piercings? That's the piercings in the more sexy places. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby was there. That wasn't.
Yeah. That's right. I didn't add that like a old. I think they're pretty much the only place I don't think it's sexy is I don't think it's sexy on the tongue, in the tongue, because I can't stop thinking about how do you do that and how does it not affect your taste buds and
Right. But when it's a labia, you're fine.
yes. Outer or inner labia?
That's not for me to say.
No, but that isn't. What are the sexy places like?
Nipples, labia,
Yeah, the nose I think
Labia.
is sexy.
labia.
You can't just stick to the same punchline.
Walt Nauta, speaking of sticking to the same punchline, says people are asking me to sing. Andy, sing something for us.
I got caught between Donald Trump. I was a stupid person. Maybe I had some military experience. If I threw it, maybe I. Okay, I'll have to write it now off air, off pod.
Dr. Henry Jones Jr. says, gentlemen, the NFL Conference Championships are here. I'm pulling for Lions over 49ers and Chiefs over Ravens. What say you? Bonus question, what was the last football game you attended live? And let me just say, this show has already proved that football talk's the most fun thing we can do.
Oh, yeah, I got a little sick from that.
I like football. You like that, and you like a sport with squeaky squeakers.
Oh God.
I like I'm all for the Lions, and as much as the Chiefs are they've had theirs,
Yeah.
I still kind of like the Chiefs. So I'll go with the same as Dr. Henry Jones Jr.
I will go exactly as Dr. Henry Jones Jr. and exactly as you said it. Exactly. I do love Lamar Jackson, so I kind of like to see him do well.
Yeah.
But I've got to go with KC
Yeah,
and
right.
the Sunshine Band.
Dan Marsh. Jinx.
Huh? You go.
Jinx, we're dead men. Dan Marsh says, how would you characterize what you used to wear on stage earlier in your careers? And did your look go through any distinct phases? I went like central casting, t-shirt under a sport coat pretty much from the get-go. And I still haven't given it up. I think the sport coat is a great onstage garb just because of the security it kind of provides. Yeah.
Oh, so like even when you were 16?
Yeah. Well, it was,
that's
those were the Miami Vice days. Remember, it was that look was sort of
That's so
you could
cool.
do that, and comics
yeah.
by when I started, it was like
By the billions.
It was central casting comic wear, But and then when I did TV spots, I would wear an actual suit with a tie.
Wow. I had some bad early choices because I had a acid wash jacket at one time.
Yeah.
And on stage, I think one time when I was dating Amy Rose, she tried to dress me up sexy a couple of times, and that was just terrible. Really terrible. It was during the new wave.
Do we?
Do you want me to describe it?
How did that manifest itself? You
I
dressing
don't
up
want to
sexy?
describe it, but I will describe it to you. I hate describing it.
I appreciate it.
Okay, I'm on stage sporting a sleeveless white shirt of some type.
Sleeveless white shirt.
Yeah. So what does that even do?
Comedy stage.
On a comedy stage, so I'm highlighting my muscles.
One would think. One would hope.
I look like a fucking dork.
Was it rolled up like Bruce Springsteen style, or was it was literally sleeveless?
You had to think of it was new wave time period.
Okay.
So
sleeveless with a collar, or sleeveless or t-shirt.
I think it was like you could see the ropes. Or whatever that comes over each one.
The suspenders? Sleeveless with suspenders?
Not suspenders, but I don't even know what I'm saying.
No. Epaulets? You said the ropes? What are the ropes?
And the pants were bad too, but I can't remember what the pants were.
Parachute pants?
No, I never was there. Then I even did I did like a leather jackety type thing on stage.
Like a leather blazer or leather?
No, I think a leather
Fonzie.
Like a Fonzie or Bill Hicksy. Maybe I was doing Bill Hicksy. And then I just, from that time period on, it's always been a lovely dress shirt, open-necked.
Yes.
That's all I do.
Like you're meeting with your CPA.
Stuff.
One-Sided War says, I just watched my first James Mason movie. It was Lolita, and it was great. But my enjoyment was enhanced at least 200% due to years of J. Elvis Weinstein impressions. What movie is peak Mason? I assumed The Boys from Brazil, but maybe there's a sleeper. It's not. Boys from Brazil is not peak Mason by any means. I think even Mason would go, I'd like that off the resume if I could. But if you want, Lolita, frankly, Lolita is peak Mason, but you can also do A Star is Born with Judy Garland.
But why were you so attracted to those
North by Northwest? He's great. He's great as the Heavy. He's Captain Nemo in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. If you want latter day James Mason, you can watch Paul Newman's The Verdict by Sidney Lumet. You could do that.
Yes, but you can't really do an impression of him in Lolita because it's a little wrong. Right?
Yes, well, a bubble of poison in my loins.
Yeah, but you were attracted to two young women in there. It was not right for you.
Well, a young woman and her mother, as it were.
Did you have any feelings about that? It was too outre for you, or a little too sexual?
It was a little dirty. I admit it. I was a little dirty.
He has no. If you can sell Boone's,
it's Nabokov, my friend. Blame him.
I remember that Police song, but what is he? I lost him.
I don't know. You were going to go to my career as a wine spokesman, I believe.
Mort's back, and he says, "Hand you 2 cents. Now where's my prize?"
That's in reference to me saying something about putting your 2 cents in. Question. So.
I thought I'd update my driving situation. For starters, I haven't killed anyone, so I'd say that's a good start. But I wish that no matter where I was going, there were no cars around me. I hate driving in towns with people. Mort, I am an OCD man. I'm OCD man, and I used to think in my 20s that I had hit somebody in my car. I used to just think of it even when I didn't. When I say even when I didn't, that doesn't say that I did hit a lot of people. So I know how you feel, man.
It happens so often. I just thought it was
right.
Yes. Halpin Frazier says, Andy, despite your hatred of most football announcers, surely you enjoyed John Madden's commentary. Boom!
I feel bad because I did like John Madden. I feel bad because when the day that I said I hated it all, it's just such a typical ridiculousness. I said, I find both halftime shows abominable. I don't even remember what position Howie Long played. Is that his name?
I have no idea what you're talking about even.
You know, the NBC, the NFL halftime shows. I find them hard to watch.
Yeah.
They're kind of abominable.
Yeah.
The one has that guy who's been around forever. You know, the
James
Pittsburgh.
Brown.
No, Pittsburgh. No, he's okay. I like James Brown. Is a perennial. Well, the guy who was the Pittsburgh Steelers, Bradshaw.
Terry Bradshaw.
Terry Bradshaw.
Yeah.
And I also cannot stand Boomer. Do not like Boomer one bit. So then I felt bad saying that. And like, who do I like? I do still like Tony Romo and Jim Nance. I think they're good. Mm-hmm. Even though Romo says Jim before he says everything.
All I hear when you talk about this is squeak, 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 squeak.
I don't blame you. Richard Cole says, "Hi guys, remember the winter days when it's 40 degrees and sunny? Today's one of those days here. Winter doesn't suck today." That's beautiful.
That's nice.
Where is he, though?
It's 70 here in the valley today.
Is it 65 degrees downtown Los Angeles? No?
It might be.
Right.
But it's 70 here in Sherman Oaks.
And finally, on this area, John Dunbar says, with all this talk of a new Andy album and shows, does this mean Josh has a lot of writing to do? I don't think so. I don't think that's his... I'm sure at some point you'll come see what I've started.
Sure, of course. Oh, God. Yes.
What?
Yeah, no, I'd love,
no,
I'd love to. I really would.
Really?
Fuck. Yeah.
Why are you... God, I'm the worst straight man.
If you get me a set, I'll come.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, done. Boy, it sounds great for both of us. All right, now I'm going into the other area. Okay, I got it, baby.
Do you?
I'm here. You know it's sister, ma'am, brother.
Well, I'm going to start with one left over from last week.
Oh, that can't be bad.
Just because it's good for us. Eastside76 said, the podcasts have been great. The podcasts have reached a new level to me. From a few podcasts before the New Year's break and the ones after have been stellar. You're both doing incredible work. I just love this podcast. So
that makes me so happy. But I thank you, first of all, Eastside 70. But doesn't it make you nervous to talk about that we're doing well?
No, it jinxes the shit out of us, but he knows we'll bounce back.
Well, I'm glad that people are enjoying it.
Dan Wade
we're
says,
on fire. Sorry.
Dan Wade says, my wife and I have been watching a lot of Japanese rom-coms. Our favorite part is the Hisa meet cute. I wish I got that joke better.
What is that joke?
I don't know. I just said I didn't get it, and now you're fucking digging into me. What the fuck?
Cute. You had a word there I didn't get.
Hisa. H-I-S. Read it. It's right there in front of you.
No, I can't. I don't get the same things you get. I've told you
we
this.
know that, but read the thing in front of you.
No. I'm going to try and find the next thing you do.
All right.
Go ahead.
Back Guano. I'm going from bottom to top here. Back Guano says, who is below Yoda? See, everyone keeps calling back that joke. A profoundly existential question. The fact that Andy still doesn't grasp the joke is the most on-brand thing he has ever done. Please tell him, or is it a bit? All the best. R.I.P. Taylor Swift. What? R.I.P. Taylor. What?
What's the joke that I don't get?
The thing about who's below Yoda. Remember how people keep bringing this up, this joke?
Yeah, I don't remember it.
Yeah, I know.
Who's below Yoda? Is that the joke?
Yeah.
And what's the answer? Is it a Star Wars joke?
Yes, it was.
Well, then I don't cotton to it.
And the DB Mini Cooper joke was a high watermark for the show. Comedy gold, says Backwana.
I just can't believe that I don't have any of these. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong. But go ahead.
Miss Al Boogie says, what are your favorite haikus?
I got that.
Anyone's that go 575 are gold to me.
That's all. Okay.
That's all it takes.
How are you today?
Nope.
I think that you are good to do. And okay, I'm working on my own time.
Oh, okay. This is a haiku.
Zeke Flossie?
Yeah. Thought Spiral is great. Andy is a walking man. Josh puts up with me. That's the haiku.
That almost makes me want to cry.
That's from Zeke Fosse.
Who is Bob Fosse's grandson?
Delicious Mick says, Goys will be goys. I have listened for some while to this podcast named Thought Spiral. I didn't come here to beguile. I assumed my father would make you smile. I don't know why I said Andy was gay. I guess I forgot to take my meds that day. I hope you have it in your heart to add apology to your cart. And when you check out, scan the code. I'm dreadfully sorry for being a chode. Peace and love, you sniveling jays. Peace and love, you sniveling jays.
That's Jews, I think is what he means.
Yeah, wow. That puts an extra little, wow. Puts an eye roll at the end there. That's what happens. Zeke Fosse says, last one, guys, I swear these aren't very tough to write, like a limerick. I love to write in shit, makes me feel so darn good. Like this haiku, guys.
Oh, God.
Ted Toons said, sorry, I'm a little behind, but on test show 334, Jimmy Fallon came up. You were maybe discussing his comedy career or something, but all I heard was me saying, fuck that guy. Something I've reflexively done in my head always and out loud sometimes, ever since he tousled Trump's hair on TV. In closing, never forget, and fuck that guy. I hate that this was my first question, and not even a question, but I don't know. The election, I guess, and I love the show. Thank you, Ted Toons.
Thank you. That was a fantastic. You got the spirit of the show, and and it also has gumption, which Josh needs badly. Some gumption.
I do. I have, my gumption levels have been down ever since the pandemic.
Well, you have stick-to-itiveness still, don't you?
It's true. I just don't have the gunk.
Please don't start saying cojones a lot.
I
just
didn't
don't like
say that. I just said gahunk. It's Yiddish. Hey guys, Al Di Meola here.
Is that true?
This is
The great
Sansafel says, hey guys, Al Di Meola here. Long time, first time. How fucking dare you say you don't want my food? I'm a goddamn gourmand, dipshits. I'd love to see the gruel you guys are slopping down your gullets. Anyway, love the show. Al Di Meola makes him giggle.
It's unbelievable. Oh, by the way, I don't know if I told you this, that I once interviewed Pete Townsend during the
Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl, right? Yeah. And so then I followed him on Facebook. It was when I was on Facebook, and then his people had to contact me to say, that's not him you're following now on Facebook.
Really?
I just thought it was him.
Sure,
it's got to be him. It's the same name.
That was nice.
And he's saying he's him.
That was nice of them to
yes.
To steer.
Now
you
later,
right.
I still thought the guy was good, and I went out.
And then the real account blocked you, of course. But I think that's our show.
You know, you have done. Let me tell you something. A lot of people don't say this, and I don't say this enough. You were just a great job today. Great job.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Don't hang up with me then.
Okay.
Because that would be too easy. Do you have anything to say about contributing to us? We want our coffees, don't we?
Yeah, we do want our coffees. You go to buy me a coffee.
But you don't want to be begging.
No, I don't want to do I don't want to feel pledge drivey. Because I love that people do it. I love that people go to buy me a coffee /Thought Spiral. But I don't want to do the guilt trip of you're supposed to go. You're letting us all down by not going. It's only
now you
good.
Got me wanting to do a telethon.
Some people, when they do, I kind of want to do a telethon too, but only because it's material. But some people are like, if they contribute for the first time, it's like, I've waited too long. It's you don't need the guilt. It's always great. It's always great when you contribute to buymeacoffee.com. And if you stop, great. Thanks for doing it. We appreciate that you were there that long.
Hang up on yourself.
I will soon. Don't worry. If not, I'll do it in post.
How come we don't have burros out here?